Yo, what is up, everyone? Happy Monday. Welcome to the stream. Hope everyone's doing very, very well. Without any further ado, let's get my fat head on the screen and see how we're looking today. Hope everyone had a good weekend. Hope everyone had a relaxing, rejuvenating weekend and ready to face week 2. Oh, where's that coming from? There we go. Monitoring myself. I'm monitoring the situation of my own stream to see. So sometimes we get audio kickback when silly old Follis forgets to mute the monitoring the situation screen. But yes, we are of course live on Kraken Pro X, my X, my Twitch, and the Kraken Exchange YouTube channel. So welcome one and all. Welcome X chat. Welcome YouTube chat, and of course welcome Twitch chat. It is Monday. We are live. Monday Open in 26 minutes. First New York Open of the week. And yes, the first New York Open of the new and improved market. Is the bull market back? I won't spend too much time talking about it today, because we actually discussed that in detail on Friday's stream. We had a good stream on Friday. We discussed that in detail. I posted a video on Saturday outlining my thoughts. And we also had a really great stream last night for anyone who was still awake for it. I had a good buddy of mine, Roman Trading, on the show for the crypto closeout with Ninja Trader and Kraken Pro. That was a fun show. He's like super bearish. He thinks that the low isn't it? He thinks that we're going to get... price is going to roll over. We're going to see new lows towards September, October time, which is it's refreshing having an opinion like that. I think among the cacophony of bullishness on the timeline right now. Whether or not you agree with him, it's good to have someone who can eloquently express a contrarian opinion. And before you say, nah, it's not contrarian, everyone's bearish, Follis, they're not bearish anymore. Even the staunchest bears have been flipped bullish here. Not going to go into my take. You guys know it already. The TLDR is that I am neither firmly in one camp or the other. I think there are valid arguments on both sides, but I think the bullish argument is stronger, if I'm being quite honest. That being said, you never know. You never know. Structure's still technically in a downtrend. It would be very interesting to see what happens if we can flip the 83K level. But yeah, I think we both agree on one thing, which is that if you're top blast longing here, you're probably late to the party. You're probably providing exit liquidity for guys who have been in from lower. What's up, Sis? What's up, Marquise? The mod team, the crack mod team in the chat. What's up, DJ and GMGM? Hope you're well. Hello, hola, bonjour, ciao, hello, hola. Oh, and there's a few ones there that I can't pronounce. Maybe ni hao is there. Namaste, marhaba, diugwit, shalom, soaste. Yeah, there you go. We're a multi-ethnic stream. All creeds, all races, welcome. More than welcome. All cultures, all languages. Let's get it, DK. What's up, Vest? Good to see you, bro. Hope you're well. What's up, Nico Tech? Nico Techie, mi hermano. ¿Cómo está? What's up, Film Ninja? What's up, Yippee? Salut, mec. Ça va, Yippee? Don't fade the Fed, exactly. What's up, Zalekis? Zalekis, you are the pretty one. What's up, Tamincom? The less often I come in here, the more interesting comment. What's up, Demambo? How you doing, sir? You were sleeping. You didn't see the lineup. That's all right. What's up, Kraken Exchange in the chat? What's up, Amit? How you doing, sir? What's up, Wes? Ni hao? Wes is Wes would say something more like Struth, right? Struth. What's up, Demambo? What's up, Micro Sailor? Never short shitcoins. Is that it? Is that the rule? Well, it's never there are specific times for longing altcoins and specific times for shorting altcoins. The longer I'm in crypto, the more I realize that altcoins should kind of, I would say not be traded. No, I'm not going to say most of the time. There are very specific conditions where they should be traded And when those conditions aren't met, and that can be bullish or bearish, when those conditions aren't met, just focus on BTC and ETH. And yes, I've included ETH in the category of non-altcoins. It's not really an altcoin. Calling ETH an altcoin is like, I don't know. It's like people who say cryptos for the plural of crypto. Lots of interesting cryptos in the market these days. Come on, tell me you're over 40 without telling me. Don't call me sir, I'm only 19. Bro is half my age. Even Jonesy got carded shorting sand in 2021. Oh, I remember those days well. I remember those days. Chroma in the chat. See us in the chat. What is up? What is up? Kraken Pro in the chat. GM. Dom in the chat. How you doing, sir? When are we dumping? Do you have any insider info from the Kraken market makers? I'm not in that group chat. I'm not in that Slack conversation. What's up, Ricardo? How you doing, sir? Yes, sir. We are live. Live on X, live on YouTube, and live on Twitch. Any advice for you? Don't short a boring market. We're going to jump into the charts. What are we on? 10 minutes. Let's get a prediction going. Prediction. Give you guys 20 minutes. Boom. For some reason, when I run predictions, it sometimes likes to move my camera frame. So yeah, we spoke about this range idea on Friday's stream. I had mentioned that trends can be quite difficult for a lot of traders to trade, because once the move gets going, it can be difficult to chase. You know, we're always trying to talk about being patient traders, traders that let price come to them. You're always better off when price is moving like this. You are almost always better off trying to get involved during the corrective phases. Even if you're playing for continuation, right? You are almost always better off looking for long entries here, with the idea of positioning for the next leg up, right? We've covered this a million times on this channel. All markets move in two phases. You have impulse, pullback, right? Impulse, pullback. Okay, that is the way it happened. No market goes up in a straight line, or very few of them do, right? Your job as a trader, when you're trading these continuation moves, is to wait for the correction, the corrective phase, the pullback phase, whatever you want to call it. Wait for the range-bound price action at the top of the trend, and then look to get positioned for the next impulse higher, the next leg higher, right? That is trend trading 101. People will look at a move like this and they'll go, well, I can't trade it, it's not. But actually it is. If you zoom in on these, normally they're giving you low time frame entries. So looking at the price action that we've had over the last week, we had this massive, basically no time for entry type price action going back Wednesday to Friday. And since Friday, we have been range bound. Now, what do you notice here straight away? What is this? And remember, we drew this range back on Friday. Boom, something like that. Now, you might be looking at that and saying, well, where is the entry, bro? Did we even get an entry? I would say there's a risk entry down here. But even beyond that, I'm gonna do something like this. Right, now I haven't looked into that in too much detail, but there is an entry there. There's something like that. Once you see price deviate the low, start reclaiming the range, start breaking structure to the upside, there are entries to take here, right? There are entries here. Something like that, with the idea that you would target this high here, this buy side liquidity. If you want to be optimistic, if you are very firmly in Team Bulla, then you know the high you're targeting. It's not that high, it's this high over here. There are big highs to target over here. And this is also the structural high. This is the external liquidity high that I have spoken about at length. That is the high that if we are really in a different regime here, then this is the high we need to break. Yeah, look at that daily EMA 200. Many people have pointed at this as being, this is your sign, right? This is your sign that potentially we're back. Interesting to see all this compression, all this consolidation, and then boom. But you know, Roman made a good point yesterday when we were on stream. He was looking at this as kind of a channel. Now, I'm not trying to be Mr. Foot here, but he just said this is a channel, and if you're longing here, you're longing at channel high range, high resistance. Yeah, I see it, man. I see it. Makes sense to me. What's up, 9 Manny? How you doing, sir? In the case that we reclaim structure and start trading strong again, will range trading take a backseat to trend trading for a minute? So for me, range trading never takes a backseat. I mean, look at the example that I just provided you here. Do you consider this range trading? I mean, it is. It's range trading, but it's range continuation plays, right? If you go into the Discord and you look at all the entry models that we have, I've split them into 2 categories, continuation and reversal, because that's what they effectively are. When you're entering a trade, you're either looking for the trend to continue or you're looking for the trend to reverse, right? At these kind of hinge points in the market, right? And a lot, like, you know, one of my favorite setups to take is this PO3 continuation, right? Where you get something like this. Right? And you're looking at that and you're thinking, what the fuck is this guy after drawing? Like, what is this? This doesn't make any sense to me. This is very clearly the example that we have, very similar to what we have now in BTC. You have an uptrend, right? And then as part of this uptrend, you get range-bound price action where the trend seems to slow down for a little bit, okay? You get a deviation. That deviation does what? It retests this level out here. We still, notice how this is still a higher low, right? So boom, 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 boom. Still a higher low, which we will then go on to make even more of. And you look at the structure here, the internal structure. We're breaking structure here. Sorry, did not mean to do that. We're breaking structure here after sweeping this low. We're breaking structure here. There are internal plays to take here as well as external plays. There are a few different entries you can be taking on this thing looking for continuation to the upside, right? This is still range-bound price action, still range-bound trading, but it is range-bound trading as part of a higher time frame trend that you expect to continue. For a new meme coin trader, would you say I should trade Sol, Robinhood, or BNB? I have, there has never been a question asked on the stream that I have less idea as to how to answer it. I am not a meme coin trader. I have spent approximately zero hours in the trenches. I don't even know how they work. I'm an old man. I'm an old man. I can't keep up with these newfangled trends that the kids are trading. I'm not a meme coin guy. Solana, Robinhood, or BNB. Trade Inc. Go trade on the Inc ecosystem. That's my advice. No bottom until Follis switches to Dagestani look. What's the Dagestani look? Is it? I'm trying to guess here what it would be. Is it shaved mustache and you leave the beard? What's up, Sniper Shark? Fetch is fetching dollars. I don't know what that means, but I like it. Probably a lot of shorts being opened here. Yeah, potentially. Let's wait until we sweep buy side liquidity at the very least. Entry was on 1 minute consolidation. VAL retest was the entry. VAL retest. That's probably a good point here. Let's pull it up. See what Wes is talking about here. Yeah, there you go. Look at that. Chef's kiss. Beautiful. We love it. We love it. You gonna give me options, please? Why can't I do that? Oh my goodness. I mean, this happens sometimes. You gotta like reset the. Yeah, there. It's gonna work now. Yeah. Oh, good old trading view, huh? Good old trading view. Do you ever wonder like what's going on in the code that happens sometimes? It just breaks and you need to reset it. Like what suboptimal coding is happening there? What's up, Beerlack? You're back from the festival and everything is green. Let's go. We're reclaiming the 74k credible crypto level. That is true. Really shocking that the Fed did not give a flying F about the colorful lines on my colorful charts. Correct. You loved it, Film Ninja. There you go. What's up, Nish? You're nearly done Severance. Nice, man. They're all meme coins. They are all meme coins. That is true. What's up, Ricardo? Follis, have you ever done any options trading? Very limited. I did a little bit of it. Either last year or the year before. I found it quite, I don't know. It felt to me like I was learning a new language, and I just don't have the time. I'm sure I could get into it, but the way I describe it is, imagine if you were like, imagine you're an English native speaker, right? And you spend all this time learning French. You get really good at French, and you go over to France, spend some time in France, you're working with French people, speaking French every day, doing all your work in French. And someone was like, hey, if you like French, you'll really like, there's this other language, Spanish. You'll really like that. And you try Spanish and you realize this is actually quite different. It's similar, it's the same family, but it's actually quite different to French. And if you want to actually learn Spanish, you're going to have to come in at the very bottom and be a noob again. And then you go, nah, I'm already I'm doing well in French. I'm gonna stick with French. That's how it feels. I wish I had the time. I wish I had the time to learn a completely new trading language, but I don't, unfortunately. I don't have the time. And I also, it was an ego thing. I didn't like that I had gone from being a relatively successful, relatively profitable perps trader to then being trading options. And I was like Googling all these terms. I was like gamma decay, theta. I was like, what? Like, what's happening here? Like, who? I was like, I'm messaging my smart friends. I was like, but what is? How do you do this? And I don't understand. And yeah, it was a little bit tough. So I stopped. I stopped it. I don't think whatever natural aptitude I had for, well, I mean, perps trading is kind of intuitive. I had no such intuition when it came to options. Straddle, volatility straddle, and yeah, it was tough. I would love to get into it, but you know, as I said, it's like something that I think you need to spend a little bit of time with, and time is not something that I have a surplus. Oh, what's up, Excess? Good to see you, brah. Options is like having leverage on leverage. Yeah, that's true. C'est bien les françaises. Oui, c'est certain. Calls and puts. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I actually wrote an article on options trading. Let me find it. Options trading. From Follis. Options trading. I'll share it in the chat. It was a well-researched. It was, yeah, here we go. Crypto options 101, boys. Let me share. You know what? Let's just have a quick look. What are we on now? 9 minutes till New York Open. Let's have a quick look at what your boy was up to. Because it's pretty well done, I think. All things considered here. Crypto options trading 101. I've linked that in the chat. What are options? Key terms, how call options work, how put options work. Your boy was bona fide. Bona fide's options trader. Options are contracts to give the holder the right but not the obligation to buy or sell an underlying asset at a specific price. Oh, strike price, expiration date. I remember all this stuff. Key terms. Your boy was, I mean, it's basic stuff, but I was getting to grips with it. So yeah, that was January 2025. So there was definitely a time in my life where I really saw I was, you know, options was the next it was the path forward for me. But now I'm back to trading perps like a I don't know. Our perps seem a little bit more basic than options to me. Perps. Here's a question for you guys. Do you consider, in the scheme of things, people obviously put spot trading as being, I don't want to use the word sophisticated, but you kind of have to know a little bit more about trading to be a perps trader, in my opinion. At least more than spot. There's a little bit more going on when it comes to leverage and, you know, liquidation risk and margin requirements and things of that nature. A little bit more going on with perps than there is with spot. Spot is even more intuitive. You just buy and sell. perps is kind of, yeah, there's a contract and there's an underlying asset, yeah, etc. Where does margin fit into that for you guys? If perps is here and spot is here, where does margin trading fit into that for you guys? I say that as someone, I don't personally trade margin, but I know a lot of guys who do. Shout out Kraken Pro for having a best-in-class margin trading operation. I must check it out someday. I must get into it someday. Separate to perps. You literally shut your brain off when people start talking about options. It's a totally different game. Leverage on leverage does sound exciting, Tom. I will give you that. Did ChatGPT write that article? Not only did ChatGPT write that article, I think I was so late to the ChatGPT game that I think that might have been... I did start using ChatGPT to assist with my workflow, but I genuinely think it was after that. January 2025. That might have been in around the time Q1 2025 that I actually got a ChatGPT account set up, but I was very late to the trend. Or if I had ChatGPT, I wasn't using it for writing in that sense. But no, in fact, I would say that even now I'm so anti-AI when it comes to writing that not only do I use ChatGPT for spell check and syntax check and grammatical stuff and fact checking, but almost never for drafting. And I fucking hate the way that that LLMs write. And it's so, because I write a lot. I write a lot in my personal life. I write a lot in my professional life. And that has been the case. I mean, I was in law before this, right? You know, and I've written articles. I used to work for the law journal in my university. So I've been writing genuinely all my life. When you have been writing for any length of time, you almost immediately understand the LLM style and how the telltale signs, and it rubs me up so the wrong way. I genuinely hate it. And it's so, I think people use it online all the time and they think, oh, no one will ever know. It is so obvious. It is so obvious. I think anyone who's read that, I put out so much content in the Discord and on X. I dare you, find any piece of my writing that seems like AI had more than just a kind of a spell check or a fact check. It's not X, it's Y, and that distinction matters. It's like stuff like that, man. It's like, come on, dog. Good writer, good thinker. I'll take it. Anti-AI writer chat. I think AI has its uses for sure, but writing is not. It hasn't gotten to the point where I read something that's written by AI and it doesn't just. It's offensive. Margin on alts was invented to snatch people's spot holdings. Maybe. That's a pretty negative view, though. Options is like leverage trading on time leverage. So for those on the bench, must we cool it till new month, or do you say there's an opportunity we should give it a shot? I spoke about this on Friday for like an hour, and I spoke about this last night for like an hour. So I'm not going to spend too much time talking about it. The TLDR is patience pays. Patience always pays. I don't think you should ever chase. You should never FOMO. We're about to reach a point where AI would use us, not the other way. Yeah. I have differing opinions on that. In some senses, yes. In other senses, no. I think we spoke about this a little bit on Monday's stream. How I think that social etiquette around AI. There's going to be a generation of kids who grow up with ubiquitous AI, and for them, people talking to AI like using slurs and saying clanker and things like that. That's going to be like. That's going to be the equivalent of people using slurs against other humans in, like, 2026. Oh, that's just my granddad, he's racist. In 60 years, if we're like, ask the clanker, the kids of that era are going to be like, please don't mind my grandpa. He's anti-AI. He grew up in an era where talking to your AI was like that was normalized. I'm telling you, these kids growing up with AI and as AI gets more sophisticated, that stuff is going to be unheard of. in 2060. Was someone trying to shill a contract address? No shilling in the chat, boys. We will look at your charts. What's up, dog? Dog, go to the moon. You hate LLM cadence, even if someone removes the obvious. It's not X, it's Y. Yeah, the cadence is so obvious you can't miss it. Yep. Closed off personal models are gonna be the way to go. But yeah, how does that even work? Because I was thinking about that. Isn't the whole point of isn't that the whole use case? Is that the whole use case is that it has access to the World Wide Web, right? We are 30 seconds out, 20 seconds out from NYO. NYO. Let's see what we get. Boom. New York has opened. That was the opening bell. In case anyone thought that it might have been, you know, a ship coming into port. That as well, but more importantly, it's an opening bell. It would be so universal in the background that people would just start to call it tech, yeah. What do we even do with charts like ZEC and Hype? So I can't trade Zcash. I just cannot. I just don't know how it moves. I have no read on it. I think anytime I've ever had a prediction on Zcash, it's played out the exact opposite. I am CT's biggest counter trend signal when it comes to Zcash. Hyperliquid we can look at. That's an interesting one. Obviously, completely sending. I think it just ran to new highs on foot of the announcement from DJT that they were gonna bring Hyperliquid to the US. But Zcash, I just don't have a read on it. I don't know. It's a chart that I find difficult to read. You just got an email from a Nigerian prince saying he inherited millions. Sounds legit. He just needs the 24 safe words from your ledger. Yeah, that, I mean, that sounds, that's a dream, right? That's what we're all hoping for. We're all hoping to be contacted by a Nigerian prince. Dog, go to the moon. Is this DOG coin? Yeah, we have a fresh account here. Obviously, we blew the last account with a few wayward trades last week. I still haven't taken a trade on this one. I'm gonna try a lot. There's been a lot of hype, obviously, in the last week around Jonesy's strategy and Mikey's strategy, which is basically just one shot. And both of those guys last week, both of them at the same time, or within days of one another, passed 100K lifetime payouts on breakout. So we're gonna try and do the same thing on Kraken prop. We're just gonna one-shot accounts. Just take risk it for the biscuit, risk the whole thing. So on these accounts, the drawdown limit is $3,000. So you can go from 100K. You can go from 100K down to 97K before the account gets breached, and you need to get to 109K. So you basically just need, if you look at it, if you think about it that way, you just need a 3-hour trade. That's all it is. Obviously accounting for fees and slippage and that sort of stuff, but it is basically just one 3-hour trade. Okay, you're risking 3,000 here. You need to get 9,000 here. So with that in mind, that's gonna be the tactic from now on. $200 by end of year for Hype. What's Hype doing? I don't even know. Yeah, I knew it was 80 plus. Crazy. Went to $84. Crazy stuff. Do I think it gets to 200 by end of the year? No. I said back at the start of the year I thought it would trade at 100 before the end of the year. It looks likely that will be the case. I often think that these numbers, like when you think about the coins that had massive runs in previous cycles, it's almost like a lot of people were waiting for them to hit like a big number, and then they reversed. Like we had Solana go to 250. We had Luna back in the day went to 100. I think it even went to 120 something before collapsing. Yeah, I think Hype will trade 100 or above 100 before any kind of big pullback. And that kind of ties in with that range that we've been looking at. Don't have the price history here, but this kind of thing. Come to 100 and then pull back, maybe something like that. ETH to 10K. Another Chroma member also reached 100K payout. That is true. We had is it Mr. Chapo hit 100K, which is crazy, absolutely crazy. And there was someone else as well. It was Mr. Chapo, and there was Silence, I think his name is Silente or Silence. Yeah, that's the guy. Yeah, he's close to the top of the leaderboard. I think he's number 2 or number 3 on the breakout leaderboard for August, which is crazy. Yeah, exactly, Rick. Yeah. You're in a box under the bridge now. Resistance at 82K. Well, this is the thing, right? We're going to jump back into TradingView. This is the thing, right? This is the level that needs to be flipped. So, of course, 82K is resistance, but it's also a structural high. And this is the chart that I spent quite a lot of last night talking through. Let me get rid of these for a second. Get rid of this for a second. We'll come back to this in a moment. Yeah. You know, you look at the price action going back to the bear market bottom of last cycle, November, December 2022, right? What did we have from that moment on? It was higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. Even when we got these pullbacks, they were still higher lows, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, right? That continued for basically 3 years uninterrupted. Now you can look at this price action here and you say, oh, but these were huge pullbacks. We broke structure on X, Y, and Z timeframes. Yeah, but on this weekly high time frame, this kind of macro outlook, they were still just higher lows, right? Then that changed. That shifted last year. Some people were looking at this as the low, myself included actually to a degree, and saying that this all changed in February. But whatever the case, the fact remains that we got this then. Lower lows, lower highs, right? Now, the argument that people are making now is that the trend is shifting. We're going from bearish to bullish. We've been downtrending for long enough. Now upside is coming. But again, I don't want to reduce everything to structure, but structure is quite important. And I think that structurally, if we break above 83K here, then it's game on. And this isn't the only factor. This isn't the only thing I'm looking at. It's not a simple heuristic of if we break above the level, then the bull market is back on. If we don't, then it's still bear market, right? That would obviously be a bit silly, a bit reductive, but it is a factor. It is something that I'm looking at. Another factor that we're looking at, of course, is this yellow line here, which is the daily EMA 200. A lot of guys have pointed this out. You know, if you look back at previous bull markets, previous bear markets, anytime we, have been using this as a support level, it's been a very good bull market support band. And anytime we've lost this level, it has been more of a bear market, or a sign that bear market was impending. And we saw this level get tested as support multiple times throughout this last, the 3 years of upside between 22 and 25. Likewise, we saw it act as resistance very, very cleanly back in January and May. So, we've just closed the weekly above it. This is a good sign. Now, you should also be aware that, you know, we closed weekly candles above the 200 EMA, you know, at previous times in the past, and it hasn't worked out so well. This is obviously occurring in a much different part of the cycle than this is, but it is still a data point. It's still something to look at. Still something to look at. BTC kind of rolling over here. A little bit of a rollover. A little bit of a rollover. I don't know why I sounded so Canadian there. But yeah, it's something to look at. The structure is something to look at for sure. I recommend, if you want my full view on like what this pump is and what it means, I posted a clip to X. Maybe someone can share it in the chat, or maybe I can just find it myself. Is the bottom end for BTC? Here's my honest take. Yeah, this is the... There we go. It's the newest YouTube link. Can we get that updated, please? YouTube? Video? What's the command? Watch my latest YouTube video. Order blocks, the only guide you need. Where's my mod team? Where's my mod team at? That video is like a year old. Where's my mod team at? Guys, these commands, they need to be updated. Where is my mod team? Does the 200k max funding on Breakout apply to Kraken? No. This is one of the massive value propositions of why you should also trade on Kraken prop, even if you are a Breakout maxi. And shout out both Breakout and Kraken prop. They're not competitors. They sit alongside one another in the broader Kraken ecosystem. There's definitely room for both of them. Kraken prop is obviously using the same backend, the same matching engine, the same liquidity engine, the same trading engine as Breakout. So if you like trading on Breakout, you will also like trading on Kraken prop. The difference, of course, is the UI. Kraken prop trading is done on the Kraken Pro UI. That is the big difference, but otherwise they are functionally very much the same. But if you are funded, if you're max allocated on Breakout, for example, with 200k, and you're wondering, well, you know, if I want to get more allocation, I got to go to shitty bucket shop prop firms. Never fear, you can go to Kraken prop instead, get 200k allocation there, boom. Now you have doubled your allocation while effectively still trading on the same prop or very similar props. Does that make sense? What's the main difference? As I said, the main difference is that Kraken prop is you're trading on the Kraken Pro UI rather than Breakout's native UI, but functionally they are identical. It's the same backend. It's the same backend. Same liquidity, same rules, same pairs. Looks like today might be a day to short. Yeah, I think the shorts on BTC are not as clean to me. At least until we sweep this high. ETH is slightly cleaner. We didn't sweep this high either. I was looking at ETH weakness after we took this high, this candle here, and thinking this looked a bit cleaner. Thing about ETH is that unlike BTC, ETH has actually swept its external liquidity, which is pretty huge, right? I consider myself first and foremost a liquidity trader. I always look for these levels to get taken before entering positions. ETH has already taken this level. Now, of course, ETH is simply going to follow BTC, but it is something to pay attention to. I would almost prioritize, and I'm not really looking for shorts. I'm pretty pleased with myself. Like, you know, it's hard to imagine being pleased with yourself when you've, you know, effectively missed quite a large portion of this upside. But I'm telling you, man, I shared a video on X this morning. I used to be that guy. I used to be all about shorting, fading moves. I used to be that dickhead who was always trying to time the top, and that was a very expensive lesson for me back in 2022 when the market reversed. Please go check out that video that I just shared, the X link that I just shared. The lesson that I've taken away from that very humbling and expensive experience is that never try and be that guy. Just wait for the market to show its hand and then trade with the new trend instead. But that's effectively the way I'm looking at it here. I'm not really like, I'm not really interested in shorting this move. It looks too fucking strong. It just looks too strong. I don't see any clean setups here. So even if you're saying maybe shorts are the move here, yeah, okay. But let's start losing the range first. Let's start actually trending lower first. You know, if Roman is right here and we go back down to the 50Ks, then there'll be plenty of opportunity to get on the short train. And otherwise, you know, you look at pullbacks as opportunities to long. Shorting these coins like playing with fire. Absolutely. I'm going for the ETH trade. What's the ETH trade? Also love the explanation you shared at the start of the crypto closeout last night with all those factors written on the chart. Yeah, that was... So, for context, you guys might not know this, but normally when I'm a solo host on the crypto closeout, shout out Ninja Trader, shout out Kraken Pro. I love doing those shows, by the way. They're really fun. And a completely different time slot for me. It's midnight my time. So I have to like get myself psyched up to go on stream at midnight, which normally involves drinking like a Monster Energy or a coffee at like 11:30 p.m., which is just nuts. But anyway, normally when I do those streams as a solo host, the first 15 minutes I'm actually talking to Craig Shapiro, who is the host from the previous segment. So there are two segments that go live side by side, and Craig Shapiro hosts the first segment, which is the Sunday close. God, I should know what it's called, but it's the futures segment. They talk about more TradFi. It's like futures, indices, commodities, and then I come in and do the crypto segment. But this time he wasn't. For whatever reason, he wasn't. So I didn't realize that I would have like 15 minutes at the start of the show where I just had to fill it with myself, fill it with just me talking. So I learned that like 10 minutes before I went live. So I had to like quickly scramble and kind of put something together. And by Jesus, I fucking spoke nonstop for 15 minutes. I don't think I stopped once. I was like, brrr. The Sunday Open, that's what it's called, of course, yeah. The Sunday Open. It was great. Yeah, that's what happens when you down a coffee at 11:30 and just... You love the sound of your own voice, right? It was a good show. I liked it. Where can you find Kraken Prop? Kraken Prop. We should have a link here. Oh, there it is. It's linked in the chat. Kraken Prop. Use code Follis for 2% off evaluations and 10% cashback on your Chroma membership. We should have a proper announcement and a code set up. I think it's supposed to be set up today. I've been waiting for it for like 2 weeks, so I won't hold my breath, but we shall let you know when it's available. Kraken Prop. It's in Kraken Pro. If you go into Kraken Pro on the sidebar, let me show you. Boom, boom, boom. So it's here on the sidebar. You go to Pro. So you're trading futures in Pro. You go to Trade Prop. And you can flick into whichever one you want. Go to the one we have live here, which is this one. Scalp shorts are the only logical moves. Yep, makes sense. Promo codes. The promo code is Follis. Follis for Kraken Prop and Chroma for Breakout. Looks like... Oh, you won a short today? Interesting. Yeah, like I said, I think there are easier trades to take, probably. Probably easier trades to take. Probably easier trades to take. We might be in store for a textbook New York Open reversal here. Just long ENA and hype. ENA is a cursed coin, but I saw there have been large entities just twapping. What is the S&P doing here? Yeah, so this is also something that I spoke about on the crypto closeout. It's like, it's an interesting one because obviously the U.S. Treasury has come out and said that, they're going to enact this new debt buyback program. They've effectively doubled their buyback program. They've effectively doubled the minimum amount per operation from 2 billion to 4 billion on 10, 20, and 30-year bonds. And lots of guys have been calling this like mini QE. It's the start of a new liquidity regime, and there's probably some truth to that. But it's interesting to see that like equities have not moved on that news. In fact, equities are down a little bit since then. Well, not down, but not quite the strength that you would have expected to see. Yo, what's up, Jonesy? Johnsy. Forgive me for constantly mispronouncing your name. Or is it? It's probably more like a case as it is with like my name, where a lot of guys say Follis, which doesn't bother me at all. Yo, Follis, especially the Americans. Yo, Follis, what's up, bro? It's Johnsy. It's John. Yeah, I know. Shocking. It's shocking, but it is Johnsy. It started as Jonesy, but it became Johnsy. Either is totally fine. There you go. Yeah, Bullet Felix is incredulous. You're echoing my thoughts as well. Yeah, Johnsy is here, so you can all ask him about prop firm trading. The real expert has entered the chat. Johnsy, how do you manage long-term positions on breakout? Don't you have problems with daily drawdown? That's a good one. That's a good question. Bro, it's just accents. Is it though? A lot of downside wicks in the last 20 minutes. What do you mean by that? Fees? I'm going back a little bit further than 20 minutes here, but... if I had to guess here, I would say I think good chance we reverse here. A New York Open that moves very strongly in one direction and sweeps liquidity. Thing is, we are at range high. Just hate longing. Hate longing here. I hate longing here just in principle anyway. It's like longing the top of a move. Long it, man. I would much prefer if this happened in the lower half of the range. You had your BTC long for days. That is true. It's based on balance and not equity. Yeah. I know this track. Yeah, I was about to say Bullet Felix. Pretty sure we're gonna get copyright flag for that. I did not realize that this was in the mix. Gonna get a letter from Sony Records. You want to scalp long this? Yeah. I'm skeptical. Let's see what that would look like, trade like that. Used to work at a club and they played Beam Me Up at 1:45 every night. I like that. That's the end of that mix, actually. That was Garci. I haven't listened to her in a long time. Listening to a lot of drum and bass on stream. Are there any on-chain prop traders in Chroma? We have Phobia. He's a deeply entrenched individual, and he's actually incredibly good at what he does. Yeah, he's probably the closest we have to that. He shared what was the trade? Can someone tell me what trade he shared recently? Some like random cat coin. Shit got listed like shit. He shared it and it got listed like 6 hours later. Base cat, was that it? Interesting. Yeah, he's definitely in some like insider telegram there. I have a funny feeling this reverses. Targeting 80k. 80k is a magnet, right? We've now put in 2 highs in this range. Both around 79.5k. Hard to believe that they don't get taken. At a minimum. Yeah, Zcash, it's impossible, man. I like, how do you look at this? How do you say that it looks bad? How do you say that this is a short? But then again, can't long this either. LIT, does anyone remember that trade we shared on LIT about 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago? That 6-or trade, that 6-or long. That shit ran for 6-or and then some, man. Ran for almost 16-or at the top. Yeah, that was a pretty good fucking read. I tell you, I have not been trading LIT, but it has been the cleanest chart in crypto for several months now. You tracked the LIT cup and handle, but didn't take the trade. Yeah, it has easily been the cleanest chart in crypto. I would say going back in 2026, people talk about hype. LIT has been the cleanest chart in crypto in 2026, and not just because it's been going up, but because it's been going up in such a predictable and tradable way. Like this here, we called this. We called this weeks ago. I'm pretty sure I have a fucking arrow here somewhere. Yeah. That's fucking crazy. I literally fucking said, man, when price was trading and like back at the start of July. Look at this shit. Oh. I literally said, man, we would get a pullback, retest that $2 area, and then we would go higher. And then when this started playing out, when we were trading at like 2.4 to 2.3, that's when I drew these yellow lines here. We said, yeah, we got our break of structure here. Now you wait for this imbalance to be filled, and you target this high here. Extremely clean price action, man. You look back at this ascending wedge or whatever the fuck they're called. This is vertical accumulation. We saw this. You look back at downtrending price action, rounding bottom, that initial spike, the retest of this imbalance here and higher. It's clean price action all the way. Thanks for the confirmation, LIT. No worries. Pump as well has been clean, yeah, but I think the issue with Pump is it was kind of going up like this. Let me just pull up in the chart. We're coming to the end of the stream, so don't want to spend too much time. Pump was clean to trade back here because it was doing this and then retesting. That was clean. Since then, I mean, it's like a 2x in a week. It's great if you're a bull, but it's not. I wouldn't exactly call that clean price action. It's quite hard to trade that if you're not already in from lower. Quite tough to trade. But this price action in July, yeah, chef's kiss. Lovely to see. Since then, it's just been up only, which I consider quite difficult to trade personally. Just long it, bro. It's easy, right? Not quite. Not quite. What's up, LJB? LJB Germany. Guys, we're gonna call it there. We're coming on a minute. How are the how's the candle looking? Yeah, the Bears are gonna carry this one, I think. Just about, though. Just about. Just about. All right, guys, we are gonna call it there. Let's jump back into the chat. Let me quickly distribute your precious florins. I know that you value them more than real money, more than US dollars. Choose prediction outcome. It was, in fact, the Bears. Even though the Bears were in the minority, in the very, very large minority. 60-something% to 30-something%. All right, guys, we're going to call it there. Thanks very much for joining. The stream just started. It did, yeah, but we're on a time limit. We're on a time limit. The boss man in Kraken Pro. We only have 60 minutes, unfortunately. Not like in the olden days where we used to run for 8 or 9 hours. That was back when I was a younger man. Look at these grays in my beard. You think I could run a stream for 8 or 9 hours now, man? I'd be a skeleton. I'd die. You missed the marathon streams. Yeah, they were good. They were good back in the day. But I also think there was more to do on those streams. Like, because I was scalping a little bit more, and the conditions were a little bit more favorable for my style of scalping back then. Not quite been the same, I would say, the last 12 or 18 months. But I digress. Topic for another stream, perhaps. All right, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. We are back on Wednesday with another edition of the Open. We also have on Thursday, I'll talk a little bit more about this on Wednesday's stream, but on Thursday we will have the next episode of the breakdown with Tomas Perfumo. There's going to be a shit ton to talk about this stream. Obviously, Tomas Perfumo was bullish on BTC, had been adding exposure, had been talking about scaling into BTC longs, and now BTC is like plus 25% from the lows. So gonna be a lot to talk about. We will discuss all of that on Wednesday's stream, but that's on Thursday. Next stream is Wednesday. We will see you on Wednesday, same time, same place, for the next episode of the Open. Until then, stay safe, try not to get liquidated, and we will see you next time. Peace out, Girl Scouts. Love you. Bye bye.
That's why